Revealed, a billionaire's shocking pretend what his maid did changed everything in 24 hours. Grace's life in the bustling heart of Chicago was a blur of laundry and cleaning, with her father's shallow breaths casting a heavy shadow over their modest apartment. Each dawn brought its own battles, the city skyline glimmering like a distant dream. Every day, she juggled 2 jobs, fueled by sheer will and love for the man who had raised her. Yet beneath her relentless hustle lay a simmering desire for change. She longed for a life beyond scrubbing floors and folding sheets. Then, one fateful morning, everything tilted on its axis. The call came in. She had secured a position in the opulent penthouse of billionaire Alex Thornton. Excitement and disbelief mingled as she clocked in, stepping through the lavish doors with wide eyes. The stark contrast between her cramped life and this dazzling haven was striking. Crystal chandeliers hung from ceilings that could swallow her entire apartment, and the rich aroma of gourmet meals suddenly felt like a foreign language. Alex, a decorated war veteran turned CEO, was more than just a millionaire. He embodied the paradox of success laced with isolation. She soon realized his opulence hid a world of sorrow. In the glint of his eye resided shadows that whispered of loneliness. Grace was diligent in her duties, and in moments of fatigue, she caught glimpses of the man he had once been, tender and vulnerable under the cool facade of power. As she cleaned his study one day, her fingers grazed over a hidden box of family photographs. Heartfelt notes lay unopened like crushed dreams. The weight of their stories filled the room, and suddenly the billionaire felt so human. They shared an understanding of sacrifice, her heart aching for the man before her, isolated within walls of his own making. In that moment, compassion surged through her, overpowering her fear. With unexpected courage, Grace confronted Alex. "You might be a billionaire, but money can't fill that emptiness inside you." The words hung in the air, a raw honesty that caught him off guard. He blinked, the hardness in his eyes cracking just a fraction. Something shifted between them, a flicker of hope ignited by 2 souls yearning for connection. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Their encounters blossomed, weaving a fragile bond forged from shared pain. Alex found strength in Grace's resolve, while she drew courage from his vulnerability. Yet, the walls of class and judgment loomed large, with family members snubbing Grace, as if her presence alone sullied his success. Community leaders whispered doubts about his intentions. Just as hope flickered, shadows of the past thickened. Then came the storm, a public revelation of Alex's family drama, a tidal wave that forced him to reckon with the love he had chased away. And there Grace stood, a steadfast anchor, her heart on the line. Would he embrace the family he had long resisted or be swept away by the expectations that threatened to drown them both? In the tension of their entwined fates, a stunning revelation loomed, threatening to unravel the very fabric of their burgeoning connection, leaving the reader breathless with anticipation for what comes next. The morning sun spilled through the grand windows of the penthouse, illuminating the chaos that enveloped Alex. His phone buzzed incessantly, each notification a reminder of the storm swirling around him. Press releases, social media debates, and family disagreements blanketed his world, threatening to suffocate the fragile hope that had taken root since Grace entered his life. Grace stood in the kitchen, hands busy with breakfast preparations, when she sensed the storm brewing in Alex's mind. She heard him pacing behind her, the sound echoing against the marble floors. Often, the scent of fresh coffee wasn't enough to chase away the shadows in his eyes. Today was no different. As she served breakfast, she caught him locking eyes with her, tension crackling in the air. "You can't keep avoiding this," she said, her voice steady despite the thudding of her heart. "You need to address what is happening, Alex." He paused, his fork hovering midair. "How can I?" he replied, frustration dripping from his tone. "My family wants me to sever ties. They don't see you as part of my life. They think I'm losing everything, my reputation, my business, they even question my sanity. Grace felt her heart lurch. His pain was palpable, and she could sense the suffocating doubt tightening around him like a noose. But you need to choose. What do you want? She pressed, hoping to break through the walls that kept them apart. I want you, he whispered, almost as if admitting a secret that could fracture everything. The words fell heavy between them, holding the weight of truth. Hope sparked in her chest, warming her against the looming dread. Yet, fear crept back in, reminding her of the risks intertwined with their burgeoning love. Then stand up for it, Grace urged, her voice softening. You can't let them dictate your life, especially not your happiness. They don't know you like I do. Each word hung like a lifeline, and she watched as Alex wrestled with his demons, his gaze softened, glimmering with vulnerability. What if I lose everything? My name, my business, and maybe even you? Sometimes you have to risk everything for what truly matters, she replied, her own fear inching away in the warmth of his stare. You can't let their judgments define you. You're so much more than your title. He exhaled deeply, a weight lifting slightly from his shoulders. It's just hard, he admitted, voice trembling. I've built everything I have on my own sweat, blood and tears. How do I fight for what feels right when I've always had to prove myself? Start by being honest. With them, and with yourself, Grace insisted. You deserve a life that reflects who you are, not just who they want you to be. She could see a flicker of resolve sparking in his eyes, and it ignited an ember inside her. The strength of their connection thrummed in the corners of the grand kitchen. But she also felt the dissonance from the outside world, the judgments that threatened to pull them apart. Just then, a sudden knock echoed through the penthouse. Someone was at the door, and it was a voice from the past that could shatter everything. Alex, we need to talk. Now. The deep voice belonged to his estranged brother, the very one whom he had hoped to avoid. Grace's heart raced. Would he stand strong or crumble under the weight of family expectations? As she exchanged a glance with Alex, anxiety coiled tightly in her stomach. The pivotal moment had arrived. What would he choose to do? The air grew still as Alex's brother's voice echoed in the penthouse, each word slicing through the tension that had built like a storm cloud. Alex's expression faltered, uncertainty flashing across his features. The last time he had seen his brother, words had been exchanged, but only contempt had landed. The relationship felt like a cracked facade ready to shatter. Aaron, Alex managed, his voice low, almost swallowed by the looming silence. Grace's heart thudded. She stood frozen, watching the conflict unfold. Would Alex be able to confront his brother? Or would this family reunion rip apart the fragile threads that held their newfound hope together? Don't parent me. This isn't about you pretending everything's fine, Aaron shot back, stepping into the sunlight streaming through the large windows. The contrast between his dark anger and the brightness of the room only amplified the tension. The company is spiraling, and you're off playing house with your maid. This is too important to ignore. Grace felt the heat of anger rising in her. How dare he reduce her to a label? She opened her mouth to defend herself, but Alex interjected, almost instinctively. Stop. This is not just about the company, this is about my life. I can't keep living by your standards. The crack in Alex's armor was starting to show, and Grace could see the underlying emotion coursing through him. It was a mix of fear, anger, and, beneath it all, a simmering determination he hadn't realized he had until now. Do you even understand what's at stake? You risk everything for some twisted fantasy, Aaron said, disbelief etched on his face. It's not a fantasy, Alex shot back, his voice rising. Grace is real. More real than anything I've ever had before. Each word struck like a firework, colorful and bursting with emotion. Grace's heart surged with pride. She wanted him to keep fighting, to break down the walls that had kept him imprisoned for so long. But the battle was just beginning. Real? Aaron scoffed. Your reputation is on the line. You'd throw it all away for a maid? What would Mom say? The mention of their mother hit Alex like a blow. He stood frozen, caught between his love for Grace and the heavy expectations bearing down on him. Was he ready to withstand the fallout? Could he endure the disappointment that had haunted him for years? Grace stepped forward, her voice unwavering. You need to listen, Aaron. You don't know what it's like for him. This isn't just about money or status, it's about being happy. And he's happy with me, whether you like it or not. Aaron turned to Grace, his expression a storm of surprise and irritation. And you? What do you really want? More than anything. I want him to be true to himself, she replied, her voice softening. He deserves to choose his own path. An awkward silence enveloped the room, her words hanging heavily in the air. Alex looked between his brother and Grace, uncertainty still dancing in his eyes. He had to choose, but how? Could he risk everything, step into the light and stand up for love? Would he walk away from the life his brother insisted on keeping him tethered to? Just then, Alex's phone buzzed violently on the counter, a notification lighting up the screen. Alex, you need to see this. The urgency in Grace's tone gripped him as he reached for the phone, not knowing that the message waiting there would change everything once again. Could it be more chaos or perhaps a chance for clarity? As he looked at the screen, dread began to seep through him. What had he done? What if this was more than a momentary choice? What if it was the beginning of a conflict that would engulf them all? Alex's finger hovered over the screen, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. The notification glared at him, demanding attention like a siren call echoing in the distance. Open it. Grace urged, her voice a mix of anticipation and dread. Aaron, arms crossed and eyes narrowed, stood in judgment, a lid on any hope of easy resolutions. Alex swallowed hard, the knot in his stomach twisting tighter, as he finally tapped on the message. His gaze locked onto the screen. It was a text from an anonymous number, filled with accusations that left his heart racing. You think she's worth throwing away everything? There's a video. It's going to ruin you. The room spun around him. What does this mean? He murmured under his breath. Grace's eyes widened, her hand instinctively reaching out to touch his arm, grounding him. Alex, don't let it control you. It's just a lie to scare you. Lies have a way of becoming truths, Aaron chimed in, his voice cold and calculating. I told you this would happen. You're too naive, Alex. You don't know the world you're stepping into. Anger surged through Alex as he resisted the urge to throw the phone against the wall. Enough. He shouted, the force of his emotions breaking through the surface. You don't care about me. You care about your legacy, about the company. This isn't just about business to me. Aaron scoffed, but there was a glimpse of something else, perhaps fear. You think she's going to stick around when it all goes down? This is the real world. Grace squeezed his arm tighter. Don't listen to him, Alex. You know who you are. I believe in you. Her words pulled at his heart, but doubt was a fierce opponent. The idea that a video existed, something that could destroy everything they had fought for, gnawed at him like forgotten regret. What if it gets out? He whispered, his voice shaking. What if it ruins you, ruins us? I've tried so hard to protect you. A moment of silence enveloped them, only the distant hum of the city outside filling the void. Then let us face it together, Grace said, determination gleaming in her eyes. You and me against the world. If this is the truth they want to spin, let us show them what the truth really is. Her strength wrapped around him like a warm blanket, igniting a flicker of hope in the corner of his heart. He turned to Aaron, who was watching them, his jaw clenched tight. A sense of defiance swelled within Alex. He was more than just a puppet in a game. He had choices. What about you, Aaron? Alex asked, stepping closer, firing back. Are you going to keep hiding behind family name and money? Or are you ready to stand by your brother? Aaron's face paled. You'll see I'm trying to protect you. If this gets out, the fallout will be worse than anything you can imagine. Then let it come, Alex declared, his resolve hardening. I'd rather deal with the fallout than live a lie. As the weight of his words settled, he noticed the change in the air around him. It felt electric, alive. But he also felt the creeping coldness of a storm brewing on the horizon. Suddenly, his phone buzzed again, interrupting their standoff with an alert that made his heart drop. Please, not again, Grace whispered, glancing at the screen as horror descended upon her features. A photo appeared, a damning image meant to destroy. What now? Grace whispered, her voice trembling, as Alex braced himself for the chaos that awaited. What was the truth behind this betrayal? Would they manage to weather the coming storm together? Alex's heart raced as he stared at the screen, the image searing into his memory. A picture of him and Grace, laughing, sharing a kiss on a sunlit terrace, their faces radiating joy. But this moment, once a cherished memory, now felt like a noose tightening around his throat. The caption was brutal, "Is this your idea of loyalty?" Grace inhaled sharply, panic flickering across her face. They're twisting the truth. This isn't who you are, Alex. Then why does it feel like they're speaking directly to me? He shot back, voice layered with frustration and fear. The thought that someone was out to destroy him felt suffocating. Aaron stepped forward. You don't understand the consequences, do you? This isn't just an attack on your personal life, it's a business deal waiting to blow up in our faces. They want to destroy you, to tarnish everything we've built. Aaron Grace began, but Alex cut her off. No. Not now. He couldn't let the tension spiral further. He could feel the walls closing in around him, his world was suddenly too small and filled with potential betrayal. What do we do? Alex asked, his voice low, almost a whisper. You need to find this person. Whoever is sending these threats, Aaron insisted, his tone shifting from accusatory to tactical. We need to know if there's more. If they have that video and what's on it. You can't let them dictate your life. The urgency in Aaron's voice shook something inside of him. Maybe Aaron was right, however difficult it was to accept. Let's regroup, Alex decided, clutching the phone like a lifeline. I'll reach out to the company lawyer, see if we can trace the number. Grace nodded, hope flickering in her eyes. And we'll face it together. But not in silence. We need to be proactive, stand tall. Truth will outlive lies, right? We just have to make sure people see it. With a mixture of resolve and doubt, they began formulating a plan, piecing together their strategy like warriors preparing for a battle. Hours turned into minutes as they discussed every angle. Each new revelation painted a clearer picture, and eventually, a flicker of determination took charge in the room. Suddenly, Alex's phone buzzed again. With his heart hammering, he glanced down at another message, desperate for it to be the bridge to a solution. Meeting at the old factory. I want to see you, Alex. Bring Grace. The truth will be laid bare. You'll wish you'd never crossed me. Chills raced down Alex's spine. What do they mean? Grace's fingers wrapped tightly around his. You can't go alone. We're bound together in this, remember? If we're going, we need to be ready for anything, Aaron insisted, the brotherly rivalry temporarily washed away. The tension in the room grew palpable, a mixture of fear, courage, and the urgency of their next move creating an electric atmosphere. As they formulated a plan for this reckless rendezvous, the truth hung in the air like a specter. Would confronting this unknown player provide them the clarity they so desperately needed? Or would it drag them deeper into a web of deceit? Alex took a deep breath. We do this together. No matter what. As they headed towards the door, a sense of dread settled in his stomach. But beneath that, there was also a spark of hope. Maybe this was the moment they could take back power. What awaited them at the factory? And was the truth truly about to unveil itself or just an illusion lurking in the shadows? The drive to the factory was silent, each of them lost in their thoughts, a heavy weight pressing down the air in the car. Alex's hands tightened on the steering wheel, knuckles white as the city lights blurred past like fleeting moments of joy he couldn't grasp. Grace sat beside him, her eyes fixed on the road ahead but her mind racing. She had an urge to reach out and reassure Alex that everything would be all right, but the knot in her stomach made her hesitate. Aaron was in the back, glancing between them, concern etched in his features. They were heading toward a confrontation that could determine the course of their lives, and the thought sent shivers down his spine. "Do you think they'll really have proof?" Grace finally broke the silence, her voice laced with worry. "They must," Alex replied, his voice steady, fighting against the swirl of uncertainty within him. "Otherwise, why would they want to meet?" But even as he said it, the doubt crept in, gnawing at his confidence. Moments later, they arrived at the factory. The building loomed in front of them, casting long shadows as the headlights illuminated the cracked pavement. It felt abandoned, an echo of all the struggles they faced. The space felt almost like a prison, a stark reminder of how quickly everything could turn dark. They stepped out of the car, the cool night air wrapping around them like a shroud. Grace clutched Alex's arm, grounding herself. "We can do this. Together. Let us keep our wits about us," Aaron reminded them, his eyes scanning the area. "We don't know who we're dealing with." As they approached the entrance, the heavy door creaked open as if it had been waiting for them. The oil-slicked floor reflected a hint of the pale moonlight, and an unsettling silence pervaded the space. Alex stepped forward, and the squeak of his shoes felt loud against the stillness. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows. His silhouette was tall and imposing, their unknown adversary. "You're here," he said smoothly, an unsettling grin creeping across his face. Every instinct in Alex screamed to run, but he stood firm, knowing he had to confront this challenge. "Who are you? What do you want from us?" "Oh, come now," the man replied, stepping closer. "You should know by now. I'm the one holding the cards." The tension thickened, and Alex could feel the blood rushing in his ears. "If you think you can intimidate us, you're wrong. We won't be anyone's pawns." The man laughed, an unhinged sound that echoed through the factory. "Is that right? You really think you're in control here?" That question hung in the air, dripping with doubt. Alex glanced at Grace, and in her eyes, he saw a flicker of the hope that had driven them this far. But this man had a power that felt suffocating. "So, let us talk business. You're wondering what I have on you," he continued, weaving his words like a snake. "What do you think is worse? The truth or the lie everyone's going to believe?" Alex clenched his fists. "What do you want?" "Just a little fun and a little secret. I think it's time for you to learn how damaging some truths can be," he said, pulling out a file from his coat, placing it on a dusty table. As Alex approached and glanced down at the contents, his breath caught in his throat, heart pounding painfully against his chest. The photographs were shocking. "Where did you get these?" he demanded, panic coursing through him. "Let us just say, people have loose lips," the man replied, smirking. In that moment, everything felt fragile, like glass on the verge of shattering. And just like that, Alex understood, they were not just here for a confrontation, but a game with stakes higher than they ever imagined. What would be revealed next, in this dangerous play between loyalty and deception? And could they find a way to turn the tables before everything fell apart? The air felt heavy, thick with the danger that loomed between them. Alex leaned over the cluttered table, eyes glued to the photographs that threatened to unravel everything they had built. They were raw and unfiltered, a look into their past that no one should see. Each picture filled him with dread, piercing through his bravado. "What do you want from us?" he asked again, his voice strained but resolute, fighting down the fear that clawed at his throat. The man chuckled softly, capturing the tension in the air like a predator toying with its prey. "Simple. I want you to help me with a little arrangement. You have something I need and I have something that could ruin you." He leaned closer, as if sharing a private joke. But it doesn't have to be like that, Alex. You could come out on top, or you could sink with the truth. Grace's grip on Alex tightened, her heart racing. She could feel the weight of the man's words settling in the pit of her stomach. What kind of arrangement? She asked, her voice shaking but defiant. Oh, we'll keep it straightforward. I'm planning a little business venture, and it requires a bit of persuasion. You see, your family's name carries weight. I need you to sway a few people in the right direction, he explained, a glint of malicious curiosity in his gaze. And you'll get to keep your secrets nice and safe. Aaron stepped forward, almost instinctively, trying to shield his friends with an unwavering stand. And if we refuse? He asked, disbelief etched on his face. The man's smile faded, replaced by a cold glare. Then I'll make sure these snapshots find their way to the press. The world loves a scandal, don't you think? Silence filled the room as the magnitude of the situation set in. Alex could feel his pulse quickening, a storm brewing in his chest. They were trapped, caught in a web spun by someone with far too much power and too many secrets. What if we do cooperate? Alex challenged, trying to keep his voice steady. What's to stop you from coming after us anyway? Ah, now that's the spirit. But let us cross that bridge when we get there, the man replied, taking a step back and seemingly reveling in the chaos he created. Just remember, your next move counts. Choose wisely. I'll be in touch. With that, he turned, disappearing into the shadows from where he came, leaving behind an eerie silence filled only with disbelief and dread. Alex stood frozen, processing the conversation. What just happened? He whispered, scarcely recognizing his own voice. We can't do what he is asking, Grace said, her voice rising slightly as desperation laced her words. We can't let him use us. We have to find some way to fight back, Aaron added, but even he looked pale, the implications rattling him. We can't let him control our lives like this. Alex felt the uncertainty gnawing at him again, but amid the anxiety, a flicker of determination sparked within him. We'll figure this out. Together, he promised, glancing at the summoning darkness surrounding them. We're not out of this yet. As they stepped out into the night, the weight of betrayal loomed over them. The world outside felt as tumultuous as their emotions, but they couldn't afford to lose hope. While uncertainty stretched ahead, one thing became clear: this was only the beginning. They would need to reveal their own truths, no matter how painful, if they wanted to take back control. But with the looming threat of exposure hanging over their heads, what shocking secrets would they have to confront in order to reclaim their power? The streetlight flickered overhead as they stepped outside, illuminating their faces in a dim, eerie glow. Alex, Grace, and Aaron stood huddled together, unsure of what to do next. The cold wind nipped at their skin, but it barely registered through the rush of adrenaline pumping in their veins. Okay, we need a plan, Alex said, his voice firmer now. He rubbed the back of his neck, trying to shake off the feeling of dread. We can't just sit here and wait for him to come after us. Grace nodded, her eyebrows furrowing in determination. But we can't go to the police either. The last thing we need is for this to blow up any further. She looked around, as if the shadows could offer some guidance. What if we gather evidence against him? Something to protect ourselves, in case he tries to follow through. That could work, Aaron chimed in, glancing around nervously. But how do we even start? He was still trying to wrap his head around what had just happened, and the urgency of the situation weighed heavily on him. Alex took a deep breath, focusing on the task ahead. We need to go back to that place. The office where he showed us those photos. It was a gamble, stepping back into the lion's den, but they needed more than a few words to defend themselves. What are you thinking? Grace asked, her voice cautious. He could be waiting for us. We need to see if there's anything else there. Something we can use to turn the tables on him. His eyes sparkled with a mix of fear and hope. If we can find proof that he is blackmailing other people, then maybe we can break the hold he has on us. Despite the uncertainty, they quietly made their way back through the dark streets. Each step felt heavier than the last, their surroundings blending into a blur of shadows and whispers. The further they went, the tighter the knot in Alex's stomach became. Why are we even doing this? Grace finally broke the silence, her voice trembling. What if things go wrong? What if we can't handle it? Because we can't back down now, Aaron replied, his voice steady despite the fear. If we don't fight, he wins. We can't let that happen. Not to us. The office loomed ahead, stark and unwelcoming. The entrance was key-card access, a barrier that stood between them and the truth they sought. Alex pulled out his phone, illuminating Grace's worried face. Okay, I'll go around to see if there's another entrance. You guys wait here. As he slipped into the shadows, he could feel their eyes on him, filled with uncertainty but also trust. It was a complicated mix that spurred him forward, glancing back towards the darkened window of the office. Alex couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The threat was tangible, it hung in the air like a storm cloud waiting to burst. Every moment stretched longer than the last, and the shadows seemed to swirl with every passing second. Just as he reached the side of the building, he heard a noise from the back, a rustle of papers, a hushed voice. Curiosity piqued, he crept closer, pressing his ear to the edge of the wall. No, you're lying, a voice hissed. And if you don't give me what I want, it won't just be you and your friends who regret it. Fear gripped him, twisting at his insides. He had expected danger, yet it felt more real than ever. Heart racing, he took a step back, then paused, torn. Should he alert Grace and Aaron, or push further to uncover whatever was happening? His mind spun with possibilities, knowing that he was about to make one of the biggest decisions of their lives. With everything on the line, he had to choose wisely. Were they ready for whatever lay ahead? As the voice faded, a cold realization gripped him. There were deeper layers to this nightmare. Secrets darker than they could imagine, and now, it was time to find them out, and that thought scared him more than anything else. What were they truly facing? In that chilling moment, Alex felt as if the world around him had shrunk to just him and the voice. He strained to hear more, wondering who was on the other side of that door and what they were willing to do. The soft shuffle of footsteps broke his concentration, and he instinctively pressed himself against the cold wall. Realizing he couldn't just stand there, he weighed his options. He could retreat, share what he overheard with Grace and Aaron, or he could risk it and slip inside to see what secrets lay hidden. But could they handle the truth? He clenched his fists, his heart pounding. A sudden movement caught his eye. Someone was approaching the door. It was now or never. He darted around the corner, just as the door swung open. Alex hid behind a garbage bin, holding his breath. The figure who emerged was tall, with a sharp suit that screamed power, shifting through the darkness like a predator. The shadowy outline was unmistakable. It was the man from the office, the one they feared the most. From his hiding spot, Alex's pulse raced in his ears, each thump a reminder of what was at stake. The man pulled out a phone and held it to his ear. I told you, I need that information. You think I have time to play games? His voice was a low growl. This isn't just about the money, it's about control. I'll do whatever it takes. Control. The word echoed in Alex's mind. This wasn't just about blackmail, it was a quest for power over everyone involved. He knew then that they needed to act quickly. Gathering intel now felt like the only way to shatter the web this man had spun around them. As the man turned his back, Alex moved silently toward the door. He pushed it open just an inch, careful not to make a sound. Quietly, he slipped inside, heart racing with every step deeper into the office. The air was thick with tension, and the fluorescent lights flickered above him, casting unsettling shadows. He scanned the small room, cluttered with files and photographs hanging haphazardly from the walls. Most were mundane, but among them, he spotted one that made his breath hitch, a picture of a woman, her face blurred, with a caption underneath that simply read, "Too valuable to lose." What did that mean? Maybe this woman was another victim. His hands trembled slightly as he reached for the photo, and at that exact moment, a loud click echoed behind him. "Who's there?" The voice was sharp, filled with authority. Frozen, Alex turned slowly, his heart in his throat. The dark figure of the man emerged from the shadows, an angry glare fixed on him. "You shouldn't be here," he snarled, stepping closer. Fear coursed through Alex as he stumbled back, searching for a way out. But then he spotted an open drawer behind the desk. He lunged for it, praying for something, anything that could help them. As he yanked it open, a small flash drive shone in the dim light. Just then, the man lunged at him, but Alex was quicker. He pocketed the drive and dashed for the door. "Get back here!" The man bellowed, fury and panic in his voice. Alex burst out into the night, lungs burning as he ran. He could hear the footsteps echoing behind him. All he could think about was Grace and Aaron. He had to warn them. Whatever secrets this drive held, it could be their only chance to fight back. That he felt invincible and terrified all at once. The threat was real, and time was running out. As he skidded around a corner and burst into the alley where he had left his friends, his instincts kicked in. They needed to leave, now, but what if it was too late? What if the man was already on their trail? As he reached them, breathless and wild-eyed, the seriousness of the situation hung thick in the air. "We need to go," he gasped. Turning to see the worry etched on Grace and Aaron's faces, he knew there was no turning back. But as he caught their eye, he felt a weight settle in. The drive in his pocket held the answer to their darkest fears, or, perhaps, a new nightmare. What would they uncover next? And was the enemy closer than they ever imagined? The factory's shadows stretched long that night as Alex, Grace, and Aaron huddled together in an alley, the weight of secrets coiling tightly around them. "Did you get anything?" Grace's voice trembled, a blend of hope and fear dancing in her eyes. Alex nodded, pulling out the flash drive, its surface cold yet pulsating with promise. "It might have what we need to turn the tide," he murmured, staring at it like it held the key to their freedom. "But what if it leads to more trouble?" Aaron interjected, concern etched on his face. "This guy already knows we're onto him. We can't let him have the upper hand." Determination filled Alex. "We'll take that risk. We can't keep running. It's time to take control of our own narrative." They found a nearby cafe still open, its warm light spilling onto the streets like an invitation to safety. Inside, they huddled around a small table in the back, the air thick with the aroma of coffee and pastries. The atmosphere felt almost normal in stark contrast to the storm raging outside. "Let us see what's on this," Alex said, his heart racing as he plugged the flash drive into his laptop. The screen lit up, revealing a myriad of files, some labeled only by numbers, others by names. As they scrolled through, their breaths hitched. There were documents dating back years, proof of the shady dealings that had tainted not just Alex's life but others too. "This is bigger than I thought," Aaron whispered, brows knitted in disbelief. "We can't be the only ones he's targeting," Grace stated, her voice steady yet laced with disbelief. "If we expose him we could save others." Hope twinkled in Alex's eyes. "This could change everything. We need to gather evidence, contact the people affected without falling into his trap." They pored over the files and made a plan, piecing together a strategy that felt less like desperation and more like an uprising. They'd contact a journalist who specialized in uncovering corruption, someone who could thread their lives' complexities into a narrative powerful enough to resonate. As dawn began to break, bathing the cafe in soft light, a sense of courage surged within them. They were stepping into battle, ready to unveil the truth behind their enemy. "Together," Grace said, clasping both of their hands. "No matter what comes next, we face it as one." Just then, Alex's phone buzzed violently, startling them. Ignoring the knot in his stomach, he glanced down at the screen, a text from an unknown number. "The walls are closing in. You have no idea what you're up against. Meet me or risk losing everything. What do we do?" Aaron asked, anxiety washing over his features. Alex exhaled slowly, a mixture of defiance and fear bubbling just beneath the surface. We confront him. If this man wants to play, then we play. Understanding is key. We show we're not afraid. Shivers ran through Grace as she squeezed his hand tighter. This is dangerous, Alex. He knows we have the proof now. Which is exactly why we have to do it, he replied, his voice firm. He can't hold all the cards if we show him we're not just pawns. Their destination soon became apparent: a public park, a neutral ground amid the chaos surrounding them. As they drove, a familiar tension filled the car, but beneath it lay anticipation, a collective understanding that they were headed towards a pivotal moment. The park was still, soft chirps of morning breaking the silence. When the figure emerged, the man exuded an air of superiority, shadows clinging to him like a cloak. So, you've chosen to show up, he sneered, crossing his arms. What do you think you're going to achieve here? Alex stepped forward, heart pounding, channeling his fear into resolve. I'm here to end your reign of terror. It's over. Laughter erupted from the man, gritty and sharp. You're naive. You think just because you have some files means you can destabilize everything I've built. You've only built it by stepping on others, Grace countered, stepping alongside Alex. And we will bring that to light. The confidence faded from the man's eyes, replaced by a flicker of uncertainty. Careful. Now. You're treading on dangerous ground. Well, good thing we came prepared, Alex countered, his voice rising with each word. We know of your corruption, and we aren't backing down. A moment of silence fell between them, laced with tension. The man's facade cracked, revealing a glimpse of vulnerability. You think you can dismantle this? You'll regret it. Maybe, but even if we fall, Alex said, rage igniting within him, the truth will still shine. You can't hide forever. They exchanged determined glances, two people united, standing strong against a threat that no longer felt insurmountable. As they turned to walk away, they knew that their fight was just beginning, but hope was now ignited, clawing its way into their hearts. Together, they would unveil the truth, defy the darkness, and emerge stronger than ever. This was their moment, and it was just the beginning. Now, it's your moment to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this incredible transformation. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to be inspired by this journey. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second. Only true fans understand the importance of action through these steps.